This is Anti-Imperialist Front News for the week ending November 30th, 2024. Imperialism's attack on Syria. US imperialism and its local collaborators, especially Turkey, have launched a new attack in Syria. This time their tool is HTS and the gangs under its guidance. The attack on the city of Aleppo happened just after the ceasefire in Lebanon. The weapons used in the attacks are the products of France, Ukraine, Turkey and the USA. This clearly shows that it is an operation by imperialism. These attacks in Syria, which is in an important position for the Palestinian resistance, were also carried out to give relief to Israel. We stand with the Syrian people against the jihadist gangs acting under the guidance of imperialism. As in the past, the resisting peoples will win again. Resistance to isolation continues in Turkish prisons. Fascism's latest weapon of attack on revolutionaries is the well-type prison, and the revolutionaries continue to use the weapon of hunger striking to oppose the severe isolation cells. Abdurrahman Aziz Aslan, Serkan Onur Yilmaz and Serjan Ahmet Aslan continue the resistance in 3 different prisons. Their demand is to be transferred to a prison where their comrades are. The resistance is not limited to this, but the revolutionary prisoners' goal is to close down these severe isolation prisons. The honour of revolutionism in the court of German fascism. The years-long spectacle is over. The conspiracy trial by German fascism has ended. As has been shown, sentences were rained down on revolutionaries from Turkey without any concrete evidence. Özgül Emre, İhsan Cibelik and Serkan Küpeli received sentences of several years each. They have been unlawfully imprisoned for 2.5 years, but from the first moment of this imprisonment until the verdict, their heads were always held high. In all their defences, they exposed fascism and imperialism and revealed the honour of revolutionism. On the day of the verdict, there was an honourable stance, not on the part of the court, but on the part of the prisoners. While those who followed the court outside and Group Yorum turned the court into an action area, the prisoners inside turned the hall into an action area by singing the anthem, "We are right and we will win." Even after the verdict, the only thing the prisoners said was that these sentences would have no effect on their struggle. Their message was that revolutionism is not a crime but a duty, and they will continue their struggle. We will continue to be their voice as part of the revolutionary press. On 29th November, violent clashes occurred between the police and protesters in Georgia. In the elections held on October 26th, the Georgian Dream Party won with 53% of the votes. Thus, the Colour Revolution initiative of the USA and the EU ended in failure. The EU explicitly threatened Georgia, saying, "If you do not implement the policies we want, we will cut off your financial aid." In response, Georgia stated on November 28th that blackmail was unacceptable, that they were freezing EU negotiations until 2028 and that they did not want money from the EU. Since then, thousands of pro-EU supporters have taken to their streets and attempted to forcibly enter the parliament. For the first time, the Georgian police intervened violently. There are 43 arrests, but 32 police officers were also injured. Georgian President Kobachidze stated that there would be diplomatic consequences for Pavel Gerchinsky, the EU consul, for inciting the protesters, saying, "While you do not refrain from interfering in our internal affairs, there will be diplomatic repercussions." Protests in support of Palestine took place in a number of cities, including London, on November 30th. In London, many thousands gathered. It was noticeable that there were attempts to provoke demonstrators with small groups of Zionists and other reactionaries waving Israeli flags or signs accusing demonstrators of supporting terrorism. We know that the imperialists and their collaborators are the real terrorists, and revolutionaries are not deterred from doing what is right. This is Anti-Imperialist Front TV for this week. For news outside the mainstream, follow us on social media. See you next week.